The greatest struggle most people face is not with the world around them, but with what is happening inside their own mind. Thoughts come constantly, some filled with fear, some filled with doubt, and others shaped by past disappointments and present pressures. If you are not careful, those thoughts begin to take root and form beliefs that oppose what God has already spoken. That is why the real battlefield is not your job, not your family, not your circumstances. It is your thinking. Every day you are choosing which voice to agree with, the voice of fear or the voice of truth. And whichever voice you agree with will begin to shape your reality. Many people lose not because they lack strength, but because they accept the wrong thoughts without resistance. They allow fear to speak louder than faith, and over time it begins to control their decisions and their expectations. You must understand that thoughts are powerful, but they are not all yours. Some thoughts are planted by fear, some by past experiences, and some by negative influences around you. If you entertain every thought that comes into your mind, you will find yourself overwhelmed, confused, and spiritually weak. But if you begin to take control of your thinking, everything changes. You have the authority to reject thoughts that do not align with truth. You have the power to say, "This thought does not belong to me." When doubt whispers that you will fail, you can answer with confidence that you are not moved by what you see. When fear tries to convince you that nothing will change, you can declare that your situation is already turning around. This is how the fight of faith is fought, not with physical effort, but with spiritual awareness and discipline in your thinking. The mind becomes a doorway either for faith or for fear, depending on what you allow to enter and remain. If you continually focus on problems, you will magnify them in your life. If you constantly repeat negative thoughts, they will begin to feel like truth, even when they are not. That is why guarding your mind is not optional. It is essential. You cannot afford to let negative thoughts settle and grow unchecked. Just as a garden must be protected from weeds, your mind must be protected from thoughts that produce doubt and unbelief. This requires consistency, not occasional effort. Every day, you must choose what you think about, what you listen to, and what you meditate on. Over time, this discipline creates a strong foundation where faith can grow and flourish, no matter what is happening around you. What you think on consistently will eventually come out of your mouth, and what you speak will influence the direction of your life. Words are not empty. They carry belief, and belief carries power. If your mind is filled with doubt, your words will reflect it without you even realizing it. But when your mind is renewed with truth, your words begin to align with faith. You start speaking differently, not because your situation has changed, but because your thinking has changed. This is where transformation begins. You stop reacting to circumstances and start responding with confidence. You stop speaking defeat and start declaring victory. And as your words change, your expectations begin to shift, creating space for real change to take place in your life. This is why you must be intentional about what you allow to influence your mind on a daily basis. The world is full of voices, each trying to shape your thinking in a certain direction. Some voices promote fear, others promote doubt, and many focus only on problems without offering any hope. If you listen to these voices long enough, they will begin to shape your perspective without you even noticing. But when you choose to focus on truth, something different happens inside you. Your thinking becomes clearer, your confidence grows stronger, and your ability to stand firm increases. You begin to see situations differently, not through the lens of fear, but through the lens of faith. And this shift in perspective changes how you respond to every challenge you face. Training your mind is not a one-time decision. It is a daily commitment that requires patience and persistence. At first, it may feel difficult to reject negative thoughts and replace them with truth. Old patterns of thinking may try to pull you back into doubt and fear. But if you remain consistent, you will begin to notice a change. Your mind will become stronger, your thoughts more focused, and your reactions more controlled. Instead of being overwhelmed by circumstances, you will find yourself standing firm in the middle of them. This is the power of a disciplined mind. It allows you to remain steady when everything around you is uncertain, and it gives you the strength to keep believing, even when you have not yet seen the results. Faith is not a feeling that comes and goes with your emotions. It is a decision that stands firm regardless of what you feel. Many people are waiting to feel strong before they believe, but faith does not wait for feelings to agree. There will be moments when everything inside you feels uncertain, when your emotions are heavy and your mind is filled with questions. In those moments, faith does not retreat, it rises. It chooses to believe even when there is no evidence in the natural. This is where true strength is developed, not when things are easy, but when everything challenges what you believe. You are not called to be led by what you feel, because feelings can change quickly and often without warning. Faith, however, is steady and unshaken, rooted in something deeper than emotion, something that does not move with circumstances. Many have misunderstood faith, thinking it will remove all discomfort and make everything feel peaceful immediately. But faith often works in the middle of discomfort, in the middle of uncertainty, and even in the presence of fear. It does not deny that challenges exist, it simply refuses to give them authority. When you understand this, you stop expecting perfect emotional conditions before you believe. You realize that you can stand in faith while your hands are shaking, while your heart is racing, and while your situation looks unchanged. Faith is not the absence of struggle, it is the ability to stand firm in the middle of it. It is choosing to trust what has been spoken over what is currently seen, and that choice must be made again and again, especially when it feels difficult. There is a powerful shift that happens when you stop checking your feelings for confirmation and start relying on what you believe. Feelings are often influenced by external factors, what you hear, what you see, and what you experience throughout the day. If you allow those things to determine your belief, your faith will always be unstable. But when your belief is anchored in truth, it remains steady even when everything else is changing. This is why consistency is so important. You cannot build strong faith by occasionally choosing to believe. It must become a daily practice. Every time doubt tries to enter, you respond with truth. Every time fear rises, you answer with confidence. Over time, this builds a resilience inside you that cannot be easily shaken by temporary circumstances. Your response in difficult moments reveals what you truly believe. It is easy to say you have faith when everything is going well, but real faith is revealed when things are not going your way. When the pressure increases, your true foundation becomes visible. If your belief is built on feelings, it will begin to crumble under pressure. But if it is built on truth, it will hold firm no matter how intense the situation becomes. This is why it is so important to strengthen your faith before the challenges come. You prepare by consistently feeding your mind with truth and training yourself to respond differently. Then, when difficulty arises, you are not trying to build faith in the moment, you are standing on what you have already built. It is also important to understand that faith requires patience. Many people give up too soon because they expect immediate results. When they do not see change right away, they assume nothing is happening and begin to doubt. But faith works beyond what can be seen. Just because something is not visible does not mean it is not in motion. Growth is often happening beneath the surface, where it cannot yet be observed. If you allow impatience to take over, you may walk away from what was already in progress. This is why staying consistent is so critical. You continue to believe, continue to speak, and continue to stand even when there is no visible evidence, trusting that what you have believed is already taking shape. You must also learn to separate your identity from your emotions. Just because you feel weak does not mean you are weak. Just because you feel uncertain does not mean your future is uncertain. Feelings are temporary, but your identity and your belief are not meant to be controlled by them. When you begin to see yourself differently, your response to emotions begins to change. Instead of being overwhelmed by them, you observe them without allowing them to define you. This creates a new level of stability in your life where you are no longer controlled by every emotional shift. You begin to live from a place of confidence, knowing that what you believe carries more weight than what you feel in any given moment. What you allow to enter your mind consistently will determine the direction of your life more than any external circumstance ever could. The mind is like a gateway, and every thought, every idea, every image that passes through it has the potential to influence your beliefs. If you are not intentional about what you allow in, you will begin to absorb whatever surrounds you, whether it is fear, doubt, negativity, or confusion. Many people underestimate how much their environment shapes their thinking, but the truth is, what you hear repeatedly becomes familiar, and what becomes familiar eventually feels true. This is why guarding your mind is not about fear, but about wisdom. It is about recognizing that your thoughts are forming your future, and you cannot afford to be careless with them. Every voice you listen to is planting a seed, and over time, those seeds begin to grow into beliefs that guide your decisions. When negative thoughts are allowed to remain unchecked, they do not stay small or harmless. They begin to grow, slowly influencing how you see yourself and how you interpret every situation around you. A single thought of doubt can multiply into a pattern of disbelief if it is entertained long enough. This is why it is important to deal with thoughts early, before they take root and become difficult to remove. You cannot wait until your mind is overwhelmed to take action. You must be proactive. The moment a thought contradicts truth, it should be challenged and replaced. This requires awareness, because many negative thoughts come in subtle ways, disguising themselves as logic or realism. But not everything that sounds reasonable is beneficial. If a thought weakens your confidence or pulls you toward fear, it is not something you should accept or entertain. Replacing negative thoughts is not just about rejecting what is wrong, but about intentionally choosing what is right. Your mind cannot remain empty. If you remove one thought, another will take its place. This is why it is essential to fill your mind with truth consistently. The more you focus on what is right, the less room there is for what is wrong to remain. Over time, this creates a shift in how you think automatically. Instead of defaulting to doubt, your mind begins to lean toward confidence. Instead of expecting failure, you begin to expect positive outcomes. This does not happen overnight, but through repetition and consistency, it becomes your new pattern of thinking. The thoughts you choose to dwell on today are shaping the mindset you will carry tomorrow, and that mindset will influence every decision you make. Your focus has the power to magnify whatever you give your attention to. If you constantly focus on problems, they will appear larger and more overwhelming than they actually are. But if you shift your focus towards solutions and possibilities, your perspective begins to change. The situation itself may not change immediately, but the way you see it does, and that changes how you respond. This is why controlling your focus is so important. You cannot always control what happens around you, but you can control what you give your attention to. When you discipline your focus, you take back control of your inner world, and that control allows you to remain steady even when external circumstances are unstable. Consistency in guarding your mind is what creates lasting change. It is not enough to be careful with your thoughts occasionally. It must become a daily practice. There will be moments when you feel tired, when it seems easier to just let your mind wander wherever it wants to go. But those are often the moments when discipline matters most. Every time you choose to redirect your thinking, you are strengthening your ability to remain in control. Over time, this builds mental strength that allows you to stand firm no matter what comes your way. You become less reactive and more intentional, less influenced by fear and more guided by truth. This transformation does not happen by accident. It is the result of deliberate and consistent effort. The environment you create around yourself also plays a significant role in what enters your mind. The conversations you engage in, the content you consume, and the people you spend time with all contribute to your thought patterns. If you are constantly surrounded by negativity, it will become much harder to maintain positive and faith-filled thinking. This is why it is important to be selective about your environment. You are not isolating yourself, you are protecting your growth. When you surround yourself with what strengthens your thinking, you make it easier to stay aligned with truth. This creates a supportive atmosphere where your mind can remain focused, clear, and strong, allowing you to continue moving forward with confidence regardless of what challenges arise. What you continually allow to fill your mind will eventually find its way into your words, and your words will begin to shape the course of your life. There is a direct connection between what you think and what you say, even when you are not fully aware of it. Many people try to change their circumstances without ever changing their speech, but that approach will always fall short. Words are not just sounds. They carry belief, and belief carries direction. If your mind is filled with doubt, your words will reflect uncertainty, hesitation, and fear. But when your mind is renewed with truth, your words begin to align with confidence and expectation. This is why transformation does not begin outwardly. It begins inwardly, in the quiet place where your thoughts are formed long before your words are spoken. It is often in casual conversations that your true beliefs are revealed. When pressure rises or unexpected situations occur, you speak from what is already stored within you. This is why it is not enough to speak positively only when you are intentional. Your words must reflect a consistent inner belief. If your thinking has not been renewed, your speech will eventually return to old patterns. You may try to speak differently for a moment, but under pressure, what is deeply rooted will always rise to the surface. This is why the process of renewing your mind is so critical. It ensures that what comes out of you in difficult moments is not fear, but faith. It allows your words to remain steady even when your emotions are not. Words have the power to reinforce what you believe or to reshape it entirely. When you consistently speak in alignment with truth, you are not just expressing belief, you are strengthening it. Every time you declare something with conviction, it becomes more real to you internally. On the other hand, when you repeatedly speak negatively, you are reinforcing doubt even if you do not intend to. This is why being mindful of your words is not about perfection, but about direction. You are training yourself to speak in a way that supports the life you are believing for. Over time, this consistent alignment between thought and speech creates a powerful internal agreement that begins to influence your actions and your expectations. There is a significant shift that occurs when your words stop being reactions to circumstances and start becoming declarations of belief. Instead of describing what you see, you begin to speak what you believe. This does not mean ignoring reality, but it means refusing to let reality have the final word. When challenges arise, your response changes. Instead of immediately speaking fear or frustration, you pause and choose your words carefully. You speak with intention, knowing that your words carry weight. This kind of discipline does not come naturally at first, but as your thinking changes, it becomes more consistent. You begin to notice that your words are no longer controlled by your environment, but by your belief. Your expectations are shaped by the words you speak regularly. If you constantly speak about limitations, you will begin to expect limited outcomes. If you continually speak about problems, you will begin to expect more problems. But when your words reflect confidence and trust, Your expectations begin to rise. You start looking for positive outcomes, even in situations that once seemed difficult. This shift in expectation influences how you approach challenges, how you make decisions, and how you respond to opportunities. It creates a mindset that is open, forward-looking, and resilient, allowing you to move through life with a greater sense of purpose and clarity. This transformation is not about pretending or forcing yourself to say things you do not believe. It is about bringing your thoughts and words into agreement with what is true. As your mind is renewed, your words naturally begin to change. You find yourself speaking differently without having to force it because your beliefs have shifted at a deeper level. This is the goal, not just changed speech, but changed thinking that produces consistent, aligned words. When your thoughts and words are in agreement, there is a strength and clarity that begins to guide your life in a new direction, influencing not only how you see yourself, but how you respond to everything around you.